You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
How firm thy friendship. Oh,
you know what time it is. Raw with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lames. Buckeyes by a billion. We in the building with over 100,000. We represent from the uttermost to the public housing. And if we don't play, our wide receivers got your secondary shook, so they cook them like Bobby Flay. Hey, stay out of my way and trust me, cause I know it's OH. Somebody please give this brother an IO. Come on.
What up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Buckeye Boys, where we talk college football with real fans. I'm Devin. I'm in Tallahassee. It's currently snowing in Tallahassee, Florida, but I'm excited to be here. Kind of a spur-of-the-moment type of show for those of you that are like, hey, what's going on here? Didn't see this earlier. That is why the Buckeyes, Ryan Day, made a move that I want to talk about a little bit tonight. But before we get into that, guys, please give us a like button, a subscribe button as well on both channels, Buckeye Scoop and the Buckeye Boys. Super chats are open. It's Saturday night. Let them things fly. They go to help our veterans out who help us every single day. And also, try out the Spreaker app. And when you do, give Scoop a like on that. Same with Apple Podcasts. Give us a like there. And the Scoop message board, don't forget about that. Time to get on board with that. If you want some more Buckeye information faster, go check it out. What up, chat? What up, Firefish, Steely, Joyce, Liz, Clueless? What's good, everybody? Appreciate y'all showing up on a Saturday night. I know there's other things to do. I had other plans, but I'm going to be honest with you, the weather kind of threw me off a little bit there. Here in Florida, here's what happened, guys. You've probably watched a couple of my shows where I don't want to say I was being like a smart butt or anything, talking about the weather here while you guys are freezing your butts off in Ohio. Well, he got me. The dude upstairs got me because it's supposed to be a 6-degree wind chill tomorrow. It was snowing. I was outside cooking a steak earlier and it was snowing. I was like, what's going on around here? So that's what I'm dealing with. So for those of you that didn't like my comments about how I lived in Florida, it was 85. Don't worry. The man upstairs got your back. He got me. He got me. It's colder than it's pretty cold. I'm not it ain't been this cold in a while, but appreciate you guys for joining the show. Again, like I said, you guys have already probably seen the news. I reported earlier on Buckeye Boys that Ryan Day was after a special teams coordinator, specifically Marty Behe from Notre Dame. That fell off because of the buyout. Too much money involved there. But Ryan Day was still after a special teams coordinator, and he drilled it, man. He hired Robbie Disher from Illinois. Today is now the special team coordinator at Ohio State, and he is one of the best to do it in the business. We'll go over all his stops, everything that he's done as a coach. But first, I wanted to talk about kind of what you're seeing this offseason. It started a little bit last offseason when you watch Ryan Day go out the offensive line and bring in essentially 3 head coaches at the offensive line. You watch them essentially pour a little bit more money into the coaching staff at Ohio State. And this year, you watch him go out and hire an NFL offensive coordinator. You watch him go out and get whatever wide receiver coach that he wanted. You're in a spot where you have to up the Matt Patricia's contracts. You have to up every coach's on the thing, essentially their contracts as well, because they are getting offers everywhere. Ryan Day did a 97.1 The Fan, did the Ryan Day show, and he talked about Billy Fessler, and another coach. Again, I told you I'm bad with names. Got offered other positions, but they stayed loyal to the Buckeyes and stayed here, right? And I just can't help but think about the amount of money that Ohio State is pouring into this coaching staff this year. And it comes right on the notion of us seeing that, during the fiscal year 2025, the Ohio State Athletics hauled in $336,777,887, which is the most in a fiscal year in school history. They netted a $15.7 million profit after around $320,000 of expenses. So, all that money bringing in, the Buckeyes are using that not sparingly in the football side of things, which we love to see. Arthur Smith will get the details of his contract, not a cheap hire. Keeping Matt Patricia, they're going to pay him over $3 million a year. So the Buckeyes are not playing around with this coaching staff, and I love seeing that, man. Ryan Day, during his tenure, we know all about the special teams, right? We know about Parker. What was his name, guys? I had it written down earlier. Everybody loved him. Our old special teams coordinator that got paid, Parker Fleming, got paid $500,000 a year. We watched Ryan Day try that out. Didn't go very well. Then we hear about, him calling Coach Tressel because we know he really emphasized special teams. We'll hear about that phone call. Ryan Day reaching out to him, asking, hey, man, how do I make special teams better? Right. And they came up with the idea of having all the position coaches have their say, take over every part of special teams, in the thought that the players in each one of their rooms would want to impress their position coach as much as possible and get on the field. That didn't really work out. Ryan Day went out and hired Rob Keys as well. Didn't work out. Then last year we saw Nate Ebner come in thinking, hey, special teams going to take a bump up there as well. And we really didn't see it. We did not see it. The Buckeyes special teams is not a weapon for Ohio State. I think as Buckeye fans, we've seen special teams lose us more games than we've seen win us games, right? Caden Curry's maybe blocked a punt here or there. We watched Caleb Downs return a punt during the Indiana game. We watched Lorenzo Styles, bring a kickoff back. But compared nationally with the athletes that we have here at Ohio State, special teams is not where it needs to be. And us as Buckeye fans, we've always, and that's one of the things we've always pointed out with Ryan Day. We've always begged him, look, get these special teams better. Well, there's been some moves made this offseason. The biggest one, the most recent one, the hire of Illinois coach Robbie Disher. We'll get into that. He started his career 2014 and 15. Where was he? I didn't write down where he was, but I think it was Oklahoma State. He tied the nation with 6 blocks during his time there. He was also voted by Football Scoop the special teams coordinator of the year. Moved on to Toledo 2016, 2019. So got some Ohio ties there. Phil Steele rated him as the number 1 special teams coordinator at Toledo. ESPN ranked him as the number 2. He led the nation in block punts in 2018 at Toledo with 6. They also had very strong return and coverage game there. I want you guys to pay attention to something when I keep talking about the things that he has done in his past stops, and that's these blocks kicks that he's had at every single stop that he has been at. 2020, coached at Louisiana. According to Phil Steele, he was second in the nation for special teams at Louisiana. Led them to a 10-1 record. Then he went to Georgia as a GA 2021. Moved on to Tulane from there, and he had Tulane and the teams unit in the nation for multiple areas. Their punt return defense was 3rd. Their block kicks were 20th. Their touchbacks were 23rd. Their yards per punt return were 28th. And their return defense was 29th. This is at Tulane, guys. Okay, so did a heck of a coaching job there. From Tulane, moved on to Illinois, where he became the special teams coordinator, tight end coach at Illinois. In 2003, Illinois special teams were 7th in the nation. In 2004, they were 16th in the nation. In 2025, they were 30th in the nation. They in 2023 they led the nation with blocks again with 7, which was 3 more than any other team in the FBS had. Also at Illinois, Hank Betty, their return specialist, their kicker David Alano, who almost came to Ohio State, by the way, and their long snapper, all were all Big Ten, all Big Ten. So that's a lot of accolades to have for a special teams coordinator. What are you getting with Rob as a special teams coordinator? You're getting somebody that really focuses on the scheme, right? The scheme of these special teams, really pays attention to getting as many cheap yards as possible. He obviously has a huge emphasis on blocking kicks. A lot of players in interviews have talked about how good of a teacher that he is. He approaches special teams more as a offensive coordinator, right, would approach the offense than he does a position coach. You know, special teams coordinator makes sense. That's how it should be. I didn't know there was any other way to do it, but that's what people say about him. He's really big on these players buying into special teams. He wants starters buying into special teams, and he wants it to be a very a fight to get on the special teams. And the other thing about him is every single stop the dude has been at, and he's been part of special teams, he has improved their special teams in every metric at every stop that he has been at. So this is a heck of a hire, man. This is big time move by Ryan Day, throwing his weight around in the Big Ten, stealing a special teams coordinator and tight end coach from a fellow Big Ten school in Illinois. Second year in a row, Ryan Day's doing that. I love seeing that. Right? Not so much playing nice. We live in a world where that's not happening anymore. And if you look ahead a little bit, right, where else will this type of mentality bleed into this Ohio State program? Well, if you ask me and you want my opinion, it's recruiting. Pay attention to the 2027 recruiting class. I think Ohio State is getting a little more aggressive, even in that area, on top of others. So it's exciting to see. It wasn't the only move Ryan Day made, this offseason for special teams. One of the areas, I had a conversation with somebody about Legend Bay during the time they wanted him to get in here. And that was a big area of emphasis for Ohio State, telling him, hey, right, we need you to come here and help us return kicks, return punts, wherever you can fit in. Ryan Day on the radio show they did call him the poor man's Tyreek Hill. I found that pretty funny. He talked about how he's like lightning in a bottle, very fast. So you see that move there, right? We're in a recruiting class. You're really going after somebody that has that special ability to make players miss, the speed that you need on special teams, which has kind of been lacking here at the Buckeyes these past couple seasons. Watch Brandon Ennis return kicks and punts this year. Lorenzo Styles, fastest player on the team. We watched him get a kickoff return, but didn't really spend a lot of time back there. But Ryan Day, the other part of special teams that we've obviously has been, which this will go down as, I'll never understand this. I'll never understand letting Jaden Fielding be your field goal kicker the entire time he's here. If I was the coach, he'd have been done last year. I would have went in the portal hard last year, got a different kicker, but that's a different story. You guys know I'm pretty passionate about the field goal kicking dilemma that we had here at Ohio State. There's no excuse for it. But anyway, we moved on for brighter days. We got Connor Hawkins from Baylor, who in the kicking community is one of the top kickers in the nation. Like, you got a group of, right, the kickers are a little bit different than all the other players, but there is a select group of coaches, training facilities, all those people that pay really close attention, the punters, kickers, all those things. Well, in that community, Connor Hawkins is thought of as one of the best kickers in the nation. So went out there, did the job there. Also on the radio show, Ryan Day talked about long snapper Dalton Riggs. I know I almost have the same response. It's like, you don't really think about long snappers that much. And because you don't think about them that much, you don't realize how hard of a job it is. But the Buckeyes had a heck of a long snapper who graduated, no longer here. So they go to USF and they steal Dalton Riggs, who Ryan Day called the best long snapper in the nation. Big deal, right? You're not going to notice a long snapper unless he's screwing up. Okay. You didn't know the long snapper for the Buckeyes this last season. This might be the only time you hear Dalton Riggs' name. If so, that means the dude is doing his job. But Ryan Day also went in and got another punter and Brady Young out of the portal. We got 2 kickers, 2 punters now to create an atmosphere where people are fighting for their jobs. So, with this special teams hire, bringing in some tools that can potentially be used in Legend Bay, Connor Hawkins, I feel like we have the tools um, to increase our field goal kicking, um, our punt returns, our kick returns, our kickoff, those type of things. The only area that I still have a question about, and this is getting a little bit nitpicky, right? And this is just off my dome. I didn't do the research here, but I wasn't real happy with the punting a lot of the time this year. That was earlier in the season. But during the back half of the season, our punter got a lot better, but there were some really short punts. And we played several games this year where obviously being able to flip the field with a really good punter. I watched several games this year too, where it's like, dang, bro, MVP of that game is the punter, able to flip the field like that. So hopefully, this offseason, our punter and the punter we brought in can create a fighting environment where they get a little bit better in the punting game. But anyway, Robbie, I'm probably saying his name wrong, Disher from Illinois, big time pickup, guys, big time pickup. I hope to see an uptick in special teams based off of his other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All 6 of his stops that I did research on, he made special teams better. Okay, so expect special teams to be better. This is by far the biggest special teams move that Ryan Day made in the offseason. Depending on how you watch the game, this could potentially be up there with offensive coordinator. Special teams is a big deal. I'm a huge special teams guy. I think it's a very important part of the game, especially when you watch Indiana this year and you watch what special teams did for them. It can create momentum in times when your on-field play is not creating that momentum. You can go out, make one special teams play, right, and you just secure that momentum. You can completely change the vibe of a game. And it's about time, man, because I'm sick of every time we kick a field goal, the feeling I got in my gut. Were you guys the same way? How long's it been since, number one, like you wanted Ohio State to try a field goal and you felt good for the field goal? There wasn't one single time, even in extra points this year, where I thought, oh, I feel really good about this. Every single one of them this year, I held my breath, and rightfully so. Okay, so I love seeing this, guys. This is a huge deal here for the Buckeyes, and it seems Ryan Day's serious about special teams at this point. So I wanted to come on here, wanted to talk about that. You guys got any questions or anything, throw it in the chat here. Let's see what we got. Steely, thanks for the $1.99, brother. Frozen Gator Nuggets, Dev. Yeah, I'm telling you, I was outside earlier in shorts and no shirt, and I was like, man, it's too cold for all this mess. Clueless, thanks for the $5. Let's get it. Special teams will be elite this year. Great hire. Absolutely. I agree with you. It's been one of the things that's been lacking with Ryan Day. And when you're right, when you look at Ryan Day in the past, you can say areas probably, if I had to pick 2 complaints with Ryan Day since he's been head coach, you can probably say special teams and you can probably say the run game, right? Especially the past 3-4 years, you could probably say the run game maybe wasn't what we thought it would be or wanted to be. Now, with Travion and Quinshawn, you can argue whether it was or not. Won us a national title, was pretty good. But it looks like Ryan Day went out and addressed both of the issues. The Buckeyes officially announced Arthur Smith as their offensive coordinator as well. Waiting on that announcement. You never know. We got a little history of thinking we have an offensive coordinator, doesn't sign his contract, and, Bill O'Brien leaves and go get Chip Kelly. So contract signed. He will officially be our offensive coordinator this year. So that's good. Clueless, thanks for being a member for 1 month, man. Very glad they brought in help for special teams. Yeah, same here. Steely, thanks for the $1.99 again, brother. Drink, you are tardy for Gator Nuggets. I know, dude. You drank in the chat. Man, I got to get him some Gator Nuggets, man. He's really wanting those. He got Johnny again, $9.99. Show Tanker. Wait, Indiana won't be very good this year. Did you just do that? I feel like you've super chatted this before. Johnny, have you super chatted this before? Am I tripping right now, chat? Am I tripping? I literally feel like he just super chatted this last night or the night before. Come here, Tank. Come here, girl. Come on. You have to make your appearance. Okay. All right. Here's Tank again. We've been super lazy today, laying in bed doing nothing. So, excuse her messy hair. She normally looks better, gets up, does her hair and things, but I do not want kisses right now. Here's Tank for you. Clueless, thanks for the $5 again. Honestly, I think this has been the second best offseason we've had so far, only second to the Caleb Downs offseason. Yeah, I mean, in a good minute. Yeah, this is a very good offseason. I'd have to go back and look at some of our off seasons, but in this new day and age of transfer portal and coaches moving and things like that, I'm going to have to agree with you right off the top of my head. Yeah, this is the second best offseason for sure. But, well, at least it looks like so on paper. We're going to have to wait and see how we actually do on the field. Back to sleep, girl. So, yeah. Well, guys, I think that'll pretty much do it. I have several other things to discuss, but I'm saving those for other shows. CSC making some movements in college football a little bit. Still got to dive into the defensive side of the ball, talk about the depth chart there. Don't forget, guys, tomorrow on Scoop is the panel with me, Nevada, and B. Moses. We're going to talk all things Buckeye football. Sage, great question. What kind of spring game they'll play with both starting running backs out? Yeah, so I've had that information for literally probably a month and a half now. Literally the day after we lost that Miami game, I was on a phone call and got told, hey, Bo Jackson and Isaiah West, and there's some other players actually that, I'll wait for Ohio State to announce it, but there's definitely one more that is going to be out for the spring that hurts, that we will expect to make an impact next year, going into a sophomore season. But I just don't announce those things. But I don't know. It's kind of scary. Especially because they were freshmen, and when they went in the portal and got Jacoby Jackson. But you are bringing in Legend Bay. You still got Turbo Rogers, which, by the way, Turbo Rogers dealt with injuries last year, or I think we possibly would have seen him, and he was a late enrollee. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, Bo Jackson came in injured, right? So I don't know if he worked out last spring. I have to look into that. Yeah, I feel like Bo Jackson was definitely injured at some point in time during training and missed some training time, even while at the Buckeyes. So it's going to be interesting. You'll see Jacoby Jackson, Turbo Rogers, Favor Key, Legend Bay. You'll see some of those guys. So, Jeremiah, do you think anything's going to happen with LSU? Heard they're under investigation. So that's what I'm trying to do a little research on. The New York Times put out an article that had a football helmet on it and said the CSC is investigating LSU for, deals not being reported. I tried clicking into it and reading it, but it wouldn't let me. But I guess some people did, and I guess it has nothing to do with the football program. So I'm very confused on that. But I'm not talking about the LSU thing when there's some CSC movement going on. I'm talking about some other stuff. So we'll dive into that in another show. Yeah, he does. Turbo is like, he kind of reminds me of Legend Bay, honestly. Legend Bay reminds me of Turbo. Turbo Rogers was uh, I think the highest rated back we got in the class. I think he was rated higher than Bo Jackson. He was a top 10 running back. I think Bo Jackson was ranked number 10 or number 11. Turbo Rogers was like the number 4 or 5 running back in that class. So, yeah, I get confused on why people don't talk about Turbo Rogers more. I really do. Well, I know in the Woody they do, but he was injured and, took some time there. But you just got to back up and I guess trust this coaching staff that, if they're only going to go to the portal and get one running back, that they think they have the running back situation under control. Because I will say this, the Isaiah West and Bo Jackson injuries that's keeping them out, they're not lower body, they're upper body injuries. So that helps a little bit. You know what I mean? It's not the knee, it's not a hamstring or something like that. So, bring a little more positivity to the situation, but I think we'll be all right. Clueless. Dev, who do you think will be the returner this year? I'm saying Legend Bay. Dude, there is a reason. I promise you guys, there was way more behind the scenes things with this Legend Bay thing that I know that that, that makes me see how much Ohio State wanted Legend Bay. And they wanted Legend Bay very, very, very badly. Like bad. They put up with some stuff. And just with the drama you guys know about, that's surprising. Ohio State normally doesn't mess with that, So think about that, guys. Clueless, another good one as well. 10-3 in the 100-meter dash. Devin McQuinn from UTSA. Ryan Day talked about him on the radio as well. Dude's got some wheels. He's got some wheels. So we'll see. We've always had. Dude. I feel like they never pick the right returner. You know what I mean? I don't understand. Would you guys? Let me ask you a question. Would you guys have had Caleb Downs returning punts this year? Would you have wanted that? I do. I know some people are like, don't risk the injury. It's a risk. It's football. You're at risk being the safety. Caleb Downs said the only punt return I've seen in quite some time. You let the dude return punts. What is going on around here? Why would you not? Anyway, whatever. I know that's up in the air. Mark says no. Sean, periodically I'd say yes. I'm just one of those guys that's just yes all the time. Yeah, if he's the best at it, I know that he's crucial for this defense, but I'd have put him out there. You drink, yeah. Ryan Day said on the radio that Devin runs a 10-3 100-meter dash. So, yeah. There's a lot of things that go into punt return. This year, I mean, it was Brandon Ennis because they trusted him the most with ball security, making the right decisions, even though he didn't even do that. He had a fumble. He made some fair catches when he shouldn't have. Like, they're just bringing in Robbie guys is gonna. I think it's just gonna. From what I have heard from my research and listening to some interviews and reading some interviews and stuff, the dude's very psychotic about special teams. Like the dude measures plays in inches on special teams. There's no yards with him. That dude will measure inches. If he finds a way to get 6 more inches out of a return, he's freaking doing it. I love it. I love it. I think this is a steal, guys. Drink, I know. Yeah. That's who you brought in. You brought in, I am curious, the wide receiver thing. I'm curious, who plays what positions. You know, Jeremiah's the X. But I feel like you bring in Devin and Kyle for the Z position. You know, I don't know. There's a lot of different ways you can adjust that, but we'll see. Um, all right, y'all. I think that'll do it. I think I'm done for the day. Yeah, just had to get on here and report that. I'm excited about that. For those of you guys that watch the show enough, you know I'm pretty psychotic about special teams. So any emphasis we have, you know, it's essentially Ohio State now has like 12 countable coaches. You know, I mean, we now have a special teams coordinator and an offensive coordinator that they can't go on the road and recruit. So they're really, the university athletic department's really backing up this football team with finances, definitely on the coaching staff. You know, in the portal, they went in and got the guys they wanted to get. So excited for this upcoming year of football. You guys should be as well. Don't forget on the way out, please hit the like button on both channels, the Buckeye Boys channel and Buckeye Scoop. Hit the subscribe button as well. If you got the Spreaker app, hit us a like. Same with Apple Podcast and the Scoop message board. I keep telling you guys over and over again, I think it's like 10 cents a day or something to go over there and subscribe to that. So go over to check it out, man. A lot of information, a lot of breakdowns, a lot of recruiting intel. I'll be doing a show here soon, get everybody caught up on a little bit of recruiting. It's still a little early for me to dive in too awful hard, but I'll get into it a little bit so we can get a basic idea. Monday, VB coach coming on. We're going to break down the offensive line. If you want to hear actual information on this offensive line and how well they're going to be doing this upcoming year, you know, you don't want to listen to an X account, right? There's a lot of YouTube shows that want to tell you their opinion on it. They know nothing about the offensive line. VB Coach Taylor Decker in high school in the offensive line. He is an offensive line coach, so it's going to be a really good show on Monday. It's going to be a good one. I appreciate you guys for joining me on your Saturday night. God bless y'all. Love you guys. Go Buckeyes. OH.